We talk a lot about the obvious tech problems, right? Things like screen time or spotting fake news. But what if I told you the real ethical challenges, the ones that are shaping our future right now, are way deeper and a lot more complicated? Okay, let's get into this, because what's happening just under the surface is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing and honestly a little concerning.
I want to start with just one number, 80%. So what do you think that represents? Get this. It's the percentage of legal professionals in a Dutch study who actually preferred a legal document written by an AI over one written by an experienced human lawyer. And not just by a little bit, it was an overwhelming preference.
And this wasn't some fluke. In the study, they put OpenAI's GPT-4 up against a human lawyer on a real-world case. Then they had 25 legal professionals review both arguments without knowing which was which. The results? They were absolutely stunning. Just look at the charts for text B. That was the AI. It was rated higher in every single category, from how persuasive it was to its clarity.
And it wasn't just about perfect grammar or spelling. No. This quote from one of the lawyers really gets to the heart of it. The AI was seen as more structured, more focused. It just cut through all the noise and got straight to the point. So think about that. It didn't just write like a lawyer. In the eyes of other lawyers, it wrote like a better one.
So let's be really clear. This is not some sci-fi movie plot we're talking about. The reality we have to grapple with today is that AI can already do better than highly trained experts in really complex, nuanced fields like law. And that simple fact forces us to ask some completely new and, frankly, very difficult ethical questions. I mean, think about it. If an AI can write a more convincing argument, does that automatically mean it's better at getting to the truth, at achieving justice, or is it just better at winning? That is a huge distinction that takes us from the courtroom right into the jury box.
And all this has led to this fascinating and, pretty provocative idea. What if we just replaced human juries with AI? Now, it sounds crazy, I know, but just exploring the concept reveals some really uncomfortable truths about our own justice system, especially when it comes to bias.
So let's put them side by side. We all know human jurors have biases, right? Deep-seated, often unconscious prejudices they bring with them. And their decision-making? It's a total black box. We almost never know how they actually reached a verdict. Now, an AI juror isn't perfect, not by a long shot. It has its own issues, like bias baked into its training data. And its reasoning can also be a black box. But, and this is important, there's a critical difference.
And here it is. This is the whole ballgame. We can actually audit an algorithm. We can test it, we can find its biases, and we can try to fix them. It's basically an engineering problem. But how do you fix the hidden lifelong prejudices of a person? That's a much, much harder, maybe even impossible thing to do. So the question isn't whether AI is perfect, it's whether it could be less flawed than the human system we have right now.
So while we're wrestling with these big future dilemmas, the lack of ethical guardrails is already causing a staggering human cost today. When these digital tools are just let loose without a strong ethical framework, the damage isn't some abstract idea. It is devastatingly real for people.
Researchers actually have a name for this whole category of harm: hurtful digital communications, or HDC. This is the umbrella term for everything from cyberbullying and doxing to what's called NCDI, the non-consensual sharing of intimate images. And these are not victimless crimes. They cause profound, lasting harm.
And yet here's the truly heartbreaking part. A study from Hong Kong shows exactly why so many victims just suffer in silence. They don't report these things because they feel like nothing can be done, or even worse, they're afraid they'll be blamed. And just look at that last point. One victim reported her private images were shared, only to find out those same images were then spread among police officers. Let that sink in. This isn't just a failure of technology, it's a deep failure of our human systems to keep up.
All of this points to one big, uncomfortable truth. For years, we thought digital literacy just meant, knowing how to use a computer or spot a phishing email. But that toolkit? It is completely, totally inadequate for the ethical minefield we're walking through right now.
The challenges today are way more complex, the harms are more hidden, and the technology is more powerful than anything we've ever seen before. So the real question is, how do we build the skills we actually need to navigate this new world?
Look, the answer isn't to just unplug and walk away. It's to build a new kind of ethical compass, one made up of new skills and new ways of thinking that are designed for the world we live in now. So let's look at two of the most important ones.
First up is a skill called algorithm auditing. Now, I know it sounds technical, but the idea is pretty simple. It's basically like being a digital detective for AI. It's the practice of testing a system, not by looking at its code, but by analyzing what it puts out, to see who it's helping and who it's hurting. It's a powerful tool for accountability that lets us investigate these black boxes from the outside.
Okay, second, we need to cultivate what's called empathic communication. Now, this diagram might look a little complicated, but its point is actually really simple. Real empathy isn't just a fuzzy feeling, it's a full-on capability. It combines practical skills like seeing things from another person's perspective, an orientation towards shared values, and a fundamental way of being that's in service to society. It's the human-centric balance we desperately need against purely technical thinking.
So, these are the tools for our upgraded toolkit. On the one hand, you have the technical skill of algorithm auditing to hold these powerful systems accountable. And on the other, you have the deeply human skill of empathic communication to make sure we're building tech that actually serves us and not the other way around. Which really leaves us with this one last crucial question. Right now, we are in the process of building superhumanly intelligent systems, AI that can outperform our best and brightest minds. But are we putting that same level of energy and focus into building the superhuman ethics we're going to need to guide and control them? That's the challenge that's going to define our future.